Hey everyone, I'm Jay Cohen here in my home kitchen, and I'm going to show you how to make stuffed tortelli pasta with butternut squash, ricotta, and parm. I went live with Pasta Social Club over on Feedfeed the other day, and I had the best time and made a perfect pasta dough. So I'm going to show you what I did with it. Okay, I have my super gorgeous pasta dough. We are going to whip up the filling. It's gonna be really easy, and then we are going to start rolling and stuffing. What I did is I had a butternut squash in my closet. Yes, we're getting into spring, but like, think about vegetables that'll last you forever that you probably have on hand. So butternut squash, sweet potatoes, kind of anything that would be super easy to store and roast up and just have in your fridge. The size doesn't really matter. The kind of trick to this recipe is that you roast a whole butternut squash chopped into little 3/4 inch pieces. We take a cup of it for the filling, and the rest you can just like stir in some to the pasta when we cook it, or just save it as kind of meal prep. You can do whatever you'd like. We're gonna go for a cup of freshly grated parm. This is kind of a thickener. If you think about it, butternut squash can have a little bit of moisture, same with the ricotta that we're gonna add in. So parm almost acts like flour as this binder for a nice, thick filling that will not kind of be soupy. Okay, to a blender or food processor, I'm gonna add in 1 cup of butternut squash roasted, 1/2 cup of ricotta, and 1 cup of freshly grated Parmesan. Pinch of salt and pepper, and blend it up. Every squash is going to be slightly different in terms of water content. Depends how much olive oil you use to roast it, blah, 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 blah. So you want to make sure you look at consistency. This is pretty good, but I'm going to add in another 1/2 cup of freshly grated parm to thicken it up a little bit more. This is much better. This is the consistency you are looking for. Holds up when you lift it up your spatula. I'm gonna cut my dough in half, and we're going to work with 1/2 at a time. Do not want to overwhelm myself or my pasta roller. I'm using an attachment for a mixer. If you have a hand crank, that is great too. The other half, I'm going to make sure I have wrapped very well. You do not want your pasta dough to get dry. I'm just gonna roll it out a bit just so it doesn't kind of break our pasta roller. All right, so I have my attachment set to the widest setting you can do. We're going to turn it on. We're going to start rolling. I love the residual flour. It's going to help prevent sticking. Beautiful. What we're going to do is we're going to roll it through twice at each setting, moving down 1 notch every time until we're at the thickness we want. And again, I'm gonna dust with a little more flour at this moment. Some people laminate their doughs. I'm sure Meryl might have thoughts on that. I sometimes do, sometimes don't. This one is such a gorgeous dough that I'm not gonna have any issue in terms of cracks or the edges, so I don't think it's necessary. And if at any point it gets a little too difficult to handle, cut it in half and just keep rolling 1 piece at a time. This is just half of the dough. You're gonna roll it out to about this thickness. Take a look. You want to be able to see light shine through it super easily. Since we're doing stuffed pasta, now I'm gonna cut it up, fill it, shape it, and then we can start eating. Okay, so I'm going to take a sheet of pasta, and you can kind of cut it into whatever size it takes to make it super easy to handle. And we're going to cut them into squares, about 2 inches. I'm going to pipe in 1 teaspoon of filling right in the center. Not too much, don't overfill them, please. This is about the size you are looking for. We are going to have the corners meet and pinch. This dough is still nice and fresh, but if you are not able to just squeeze it and feel the seal, a little bit of water will get you there. I just got off the phone with Meryl from Pasta Social Club, and she showed me exactly what to do for a tortelli. I'm going to take one corner and pinch it, and then same with the other, and then meet the two together like so. And there you go, a tortelli. All right, it took a bit of time and some elbow grease, but we have all of our tortellis filled and ready to go. I'm going to get the pasta water going. I'm going to get everything else we need to cook these up. And in the meantime, I'm actually gonna pop these in the freezer. I find it a little bit easier to work with, just to make sure when you're transferring them to the water, they don't break. To cook, I just have a big pot of salted water that I'm bringing to a boil, and then I have a large Dutch oven. You can also use a deep skillet that I'm going to brown 1 stick of butter in. We're gonna throw in a little bit more of that roasted butternut squash I had left over, and then we'll call it a day. I'm just going to cook this over medium-high heat for about 6 to 8 minutes until it is brown. It's super easy, you just can't walk away or else you will risk burning your butter. We definitely do not want that. Give them a quick stir, gently. And we are just going to cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes. Over here, this is our beautiful brown butter. We timed it perfectly, so you start the brown butter right before you drop the pasta. All right, time to add in the pasta. Season it up with a little bit of salt. And I'm just going to stir in 2 cups of the roasted butternut squash. All right, let's give it a try. Looks so good. Just about dinner time. It's so perfectly al dente. The filling is just so luscious. I mean, it's mainly cheese, so how could it be bad? I'm gonna serve this to my husband, my sister, and eat the rest of it. If you want the full recipe, you can get Pasta Social Club's egg dough recipe, as well as the recipe for this tortelli over at thefeedfeed.com. I'll see you next time.